Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Unbettable. You have not seen us in a while because Gary forgot to edit the last episode, and that is what it is. But, boys, we are here today. We got Gary, we got Holmes, we got a shit ton to talk about. So let's just get straight into it. NFL free agency, boys. We
Woo.
knew today was going to be a day. I texted in the chat last night. I said, insert storyline for tomorrow because I knew shit was ready to pop off. And holy fuck, did it pop off?
Yeah.
I mean, we got some of the, I feel like in terms of free agency, this might be the busiest one I've ever seen. I'm sure you guys are probably feeling the same way.
Have to. This has been wild. Like I said to you right before we hopped on here, like there was a ton of guys that got signed today that I didn't even know were going to be free agents. I don't know if that's because I didn't pay enough attention or I just don't know that much about contracts, how long these guys are signing or anything like that. But man, guys are switching up teams like crazy. There's been so much movement today. I mean, we got so many guys to talk about with new teams, and we'll definitely put some odds out there for conference winners, Super Bowl odds, what they're looking like after some of these moves.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna have to wait till after this week would be my guess because there's still a hell of a lot of talent. One in the free agency market, and two, there's about to be a hell of a lot of talent asking for trades or getting traded. So this should be really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Gary, have you been able to keep up at all while on your island?
I have. I've seen some big names get thrown around. Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, Kirko, which was the big one for me. Really didn't see him going anywhere. So now I'm really curious to see where Jetta will go. But I think that this definitely has stirred up the pot for the not only the incoming season, but the incoming draft. I feel like this will potentially change a lot of things. Mac Jones, that's a big one. Where did he end up going?
He will
Um,
be
Jags.
the backup
yeah,
on the
Jags.
Jags.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean now, that quarterback spot for, the Patriots is semi-open because if they get somebody good, they won't have to rely on Zap anymore. So I'm curious to see who they will pick up. I'm assuming they're going to pick up a quarterback. Um, But yeah, like Mondo said, I'm on an island right now. This place called Grant Farm Island. It's off the coast of Melbourne, Florida. As you can see, I don't have a hat on. I got a haircut, and I've been trying to cut back on the hat tan line because it was really, really bad. But instead of cutting back on the tan line, I got extremely burnt. So I'm a tomato right now. But
You look red as hell.
Yeah,
mhm.
at least with the darkness in front of you a little bit, it gives you a little tan. Just don't lean back at all because then that's when it looks bad. Oh my God. I look like I picked you from a tree. Good God.
I'm
All
a
right.
little hurt right now, but it's okay.
Hey, bro, get some aloe, like rub yourself down, have one of the girls there rub you down, like do what you got to do. Because that shit's gonna hurt. That
Oh yeah.
looks fucking painful.
We'll see. It's like cool because like here we get a boat with our Airbnb, and we only had to pay like a security deposit on it. But there's neighboring islands that have like nobody that live on them, so you can just pull up to these islands and like dock and like fucking fuck around. It was actually kind of crazy today. The Environmental Protection Agency happened to be on the same island that we were on, and we're out there shotgunning beers and doing all this crazy shit. And they installed a poop bag station right next to us. So now on these random islands, people, you've dealt with having to go to the bathroom at the beach before. Now, if you're on an island, there's poop bags that come with toilet paper inside of the bags. Yes, we opened one up and explored it. Pretty interesting stuff.
No,
Yeah.
we're not skipping by. Did you take a shit on that island, Gary?
No, no. But yesterday I did get hit with an allegation that I shit on an island because I said I had the diarrhea. And I kind of just walked off the beaten path, but I did not shit. I swear to God on everything. I was
I
just walking
mean,
around.
did you diarrhea?
When I got home, yeah.
Okay. Um, that's great, Gary. Anyway,
Crazy.
all this free agency stuff kicked off with Chris Jones early in the weekend. We obviously knew this was probably coming between either re-signing or going to the Texans. He re-signs for a pretty good deal, so congrats to him. And last Friday, it was reported by CT ESPN that Russell Wilson was going to be a Steeler, and sure as shit, it came true.
Got it right.
Now, we know last time he signed a deal, he came up with the catchphrase. So I took the liberty of getting a little busy and trying to plan out exactly how Russell Wilson's going to approach his catchphrases for this season. So here we go. Steele got it. Does he still have it? Well, I can tell you, he still got it. Steel City, let's build. This one's for future Mr. Steal Your Girl. Iron sharpens iron. I could see that one coming off a week 8 win by like a point. Steeler Nation, let's weld.
That's a good one.
Let's smelt. For John. Steeler Nation, Yin's ready.
Yins.
Stealing the Super Bowl. I could see him do this one in his intro press conference. Black and yellow, shout out to all my fellows.
Oh my god.
And then work hard, play hard.
I thought you were gonna say I could totally see him walking up to the presser and being like, famous words of Wiz Khalifa, black and yellow. that would be pretty good. I would respect him if he did that, honestly.
Yeah. What about my dick is hard as steel?
Oh my god.
Oh my, why the fuck are you on this podcast today?
As a man of Christ, I do not think he will say that.
I don't even think he knows a curse word.
It's also fair.
What about like Steeler country, let's steal? And then like cause a riot in the streets of Pittsburgh. I mean, it's possible.
Gary, you don't understand Russell Wilson, and that's okay. I wouldn't expect you to. But he is a very PG guy. He's the type of guy that will only watch animated movies because he's scared of seeing real things. He's on that kind of level. So he would not say that.
Do you think he watches porn?
No, Gary, he's got a superstar smoking hot wife. I don't think
That's Sierra, right? That's her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, I'm taking a look at the AFC North division winner odds right now. Steelers are still in last. They have the longest odds to win that division, and rightfully so, because the Ravens and the Bengals are obviously the two powerhouses in that division. Browns could be a little bit of a sleeper team there if Deshaun Watson actually starts playing well for the in the quarterback position for them. But the Steelers, I mean, I want to get your guys' take on this, but I don't really think moving from Kenny Pickett to Russ really makes that much of an impact for this team. I think it'll help out Najee Harris a little bit. I think he's going to get some more check down opportunities. Jalen Warren as well, I think, is going to get a lot of opportunities as well. But I don't really see a big upgrade here from Kenny Pickett to Russ. And obviously that is evidenced by the odds. So what do you guys think about that?
I mean, let's face it. The QB was not really the problem. Yes, Kenny Pickett is not that great. We know that. What happens is you have two diva wide receivers who are barely a step above benchable. And they think they're top shit in the NFL, and they're just not. They're like Deontay Johnson. If he's not doing well, he'll stop running routes. He'll start bitching. And the guy is barely a number one receiver. And he's only a number one receiver because George Pickens hasn't figured it out in his NFL career yet.
Yep.
So it's like, as much as you want to blame Kenny Pickett, it's so hard to, just because these wide receivers are fucking ass. Straight up. Deontay Johnson is a bitch, and a like certified bitch. And, you know, Russ is going to have his hands full this year. That's just how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but at least he'll be able to work with not having weapons. I mean, that's like what he's been doing in Denver. So I like it. This isn't going to be a crazy move. This is like going from like 9-7-1 to 10-7.
Yeah.
Like this is the kind of thing. Like Russ is
Yeah.
not the same QB from 2012. He's clearly a very different guy now, probably just above league average, if not average. So it's like at the end of the day, the Steelers, they got a big name.
Mm.
That's it.
Yeah. Any thoughts you got, Gary? You kind of agree.
No, I definitely agree, but it's like I feel we know who Russell Wilson is and what he's capable of. Obviously, that occurred a while back in his prime. He's definitely not in his prime anymore. So if I was a Steeler fan, I don't know if I would necessarily be excited about the addition, but I think this is a really big opportunity for Russ to kind of clear his name before he kind of makes any sort of end of career decisions, because I feel like that is potentially in the foreseeable future. Um, but I think that if he comes into this team with a different mindset and like kind of like, all right, let's start over kind of mindset, I think he could be a great addition. But if he is going to carry these like negative like thoughts from when he was with the Broncos, like granted, the end of the Broncos season was one that I think should go down in history, not necessarily because they did anything miraculous, but because they went from like being picked as the one team that was going to go completely defeated again to like, okay, we have to play the Broncos this week. Like there's a potential that we could lose. Like, you know what I mean? Because before in the beginning of the season, it's like, oh, whatever, Broncos, whatever. But I think that if he kind of carries that same end of season energy over with him, I think he could be a force to be reckoned with potentially.
Yeah,
Very fair.
it's definitely going to be interesting, Holmes. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Another team that's going to be interesting is the Falcons this year. They just got their guy in Kirko. I mean, the man has made a career out of getting guaranteed money, and this one was no exception. I think it's 100 mil guaranteed.
Yeah.
Let's face it, bro. The Falcons are setting up to be the best team in the NFC South. And I know you guys don't like hearing that, but they were one QB away from being a playoff team, and they now have that QB. And not just that, but now you have a new coach who's going to run a new scheme. So you utilize the future great tight end in Kyle Pitts, who's going back to number 84, by the way, Gator roots. You got two elite or up and coming elite wide receivers. You got an all pro fucking running back, and you got a solid up and coming defense.
Yeah.
The Falcons are now a playoff team. So I want to hear it from you guys because I know you're Bucks fans. I know you're a little biased, but at the end of the day, man, the Falcons made the best move of free agency so far. So I want to hear what you guys have to say about it.
I mean, I can't really disagree with you there. And the odds reflect it too. I'm looking at it right now. They're the odds on favorite to win the NFC South right now, plus 110. Personally, Bucks at plus 260 is incredible value, and I'll get to that in a second. But no, it's just the Falcons being able to just get a quarterback for that team that is capable of actually distributing the ball and making that offense a lot better than what it has been in the past few years. It's really, really big move for the Falcons. And we know there's been a lot of knocks on Kirk. He doesn't have the playoff wins to show for his resume and all the guaranteed money that he's been getting, but he's a consistent guy. He knows how to distribute the ball. He knows how to play quarterback. And that is really what the Falcons needed. They have just struggled for so long at that position since Matt Ryan left and kind of left the Falcons in the dirt. So, I mean, I will say as a Bucks fan, it does scare me because Kirk is going to be a massive upgrade for them. That offense should be a ton better than it has been. And like you said, the defense is only going to get better. They got a lot of young pieces. They're putting it together. And with the new coach, the new scheme, like you were saying, who knows what could happen this year? It could be a very, very, very dangerous team. And yeah, being in the same division as the Bucks, I can't say that I'm not scared because I am a little bit.
Gary, you shook your head.
When?
When I was saying that.
No, I was just thinking about Sean and how upset Sean Curvers probably is today. For everybody who's watching, Sean Curvers is my roommate and my big, who is a diehard Vikings fan. So I'm sure he's crushed today, but I was also crushed because, like Mondo said, Now we kind of got to do the tango here during the season. It's not going to be kind of outright like it has been the last few years for the Bucks. I mean, last year was a little shaky, but we've had a good run and we really haven't had that much. I don't want to say no competition, but I wasn't afraid to watch these sort of games. You know what I'm saying? But now with Kirko, again, like I said with Russ, I think this is going to be a big mindset thing for him. This is going to be a big bounce back year coming off injury. I'm curious to see if the injury affects him at all. I don't necessarily think it will, but I mean, the Falcons are just starting fresh in every aspect. Like Mondo said, with a coach, a new quarterback, guiding the team. Um, it's just I don't really know. Usually these things go really good or really bad. And I really think we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens with Kirk. See if he's really mobile after tearing his Achilles. Well, we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, NFC South slowly working their way up. I mean, the Panthers, and we'll get to the Panthers. They signed Robert Hunt, so they're slowly building a squad around Bryce Young. NFC South's going to start getting a little competitive these days, so get ready.
Who's the quarterback for the Falcons this year?
Like last year,
Or yeah,
Ritter.
last season. Okay,
Ritter, yeah. Big upgrade.
yeah.
And I will say, it's still on the topic of the NFC South. Shout out to Baker Mayfield, man. This guy, number one pick several years ago, has had to grind his way through the league. This guy has been doubted. He has been out, and he was 100% rewarded with a great 3-year contract with the Bucks. I'm very excited that we get to retain him. Obviously, we kept Mike Evans. We franchise tagged Antoine Winfield Jr. Those are the 3 biggest pieces, in my opinion, in the offseason for the Bucks. And that's where I think this plus 260 value here for the Bucks to win this division really, really comes in, because in my eyes, the Falcons are our biggest competition right now, especially with the move they made today. I am not in any way afraid of the Saints like I used to be when they had Drew Brees and they were kicking our ass all the time. And obviously, Bryce Young with the Panthers, there's nothing about that team that scares me right now. So the Falcons, in my opinion, are going to be our biggest competition. But being able to retain Baker Mayfield after a great year that he had last year, he earned this contract. I'm glad that the Bucks have solidified the quarterback position, at least for the next 3 years. But I will say, I do feel bad for my boy Kyle Trask. I've been hoping for a couple of years maybe he would get a shot, maybe he would get into that starter role, but I have to be happy with the signing that we made with Baker Mayfield. This is really, really great for the Bucks moving forward, and I gotta be happy with that.
Yeah. Couple running back signings. Not the guy who we thought would be the first RB off the board, but Saquon signs at the Eagles, 3-year, $37.5 million. Eagles keep up their trend of being a second place super team every year. We also have the Packers making some pretty big moves. They bring in Josh Jacobs, release Aaron Jones, and then use that remaining money to get Xavier McKinney, stepping up their defense to another level. So the Packers are on the rise too, man. They're they're going to be a team in the NFC North to watch this year.
Yeah. Legitimately, I thought when Josh Jacobs went to the Packers, when that news broke, I'm like, dude, Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones as a tandem in that backfield with Jordan Love, holy shit. I did not expect them to release Aaron Jones, but that is going to be a great pickup for another team now that he's a free agent. And just a couple of other running back moves as well. DeAndre Swift to the Bears, Tony Pollard to the Titans. You have Antonio Gibson going to the Patriots. I mean, a lot of running back movement around. It's just so interesting to see all of these guys now in different places, different faces. Saquon Barkley to the Eagles is pretty crazy. That was probably my least expected move today. That was nuts for them to move on from DeAndre Swift like that and have a pretty decent upgrade at that position behind Jalen Hurts. That is pretty awesome because he is going to be a very good workhorse back for them. They're going to continue that really great running style that they have in Philadelphia. You know, they have a nice offensive line. Even with the departure of Jason Kelce, that offensive line is still one of the best in the league. So you add a running back talent to that line, which I, in my opinion, think is a step up from DeAndre Swift. Shit, man, that makes that team even more dangerous.
Yeah. And that brings us to the team who suffered the most so far in free agency. I think we all know who I'm about to talk about.
We know.
I'm about to read these names like a fucking 9/11 thing. Here we go. Christian Wilkins, Robert Hunt, Xavier Howard, Andrew Van Ginkel, Brandon Jones, Jerome Baker, Manuel Agba, Keon Crossan. What do all these guys have in common, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you.
They play baseball.
They all just fucking left the Dolphins, bro. All of them. What the fuck are we doing? Chris Career, wake the fuck up. We literally started off the season looking hot. We had a great looking team. Guess what? In the playoffs, we get there. The defense falls apart. Everyone's injured. We're losing everyone. They can't fill the gaps. And what do we do in the offseason? We don't build it up. No, fuck that. That's way too easy. We let everyone walk. Why? Because we're fucking momos. We don't know what the hell we're doing. So now at this point, I'm sitting here going, we need a left guard. We need a center. We need a right guard. We need a defensive tackle. We need a nose tackle. We need multiple linebackers. We need an edge rusher, a safety, and multiple cornerbacks. All while all the best players are getting swept up. I feel like if we are waiting this long, we better see Aaron Donald and Fred Warner on the Dolphins next year. If we're letting all these fucking players go. On top of that, why have we not gone after Justin Simmons? I mean, that's fucking bananas to me. The guy is a perfect fit for what we need and what we need to start building up, and we haven't made a move. Instead, we've sat here day one of free agency with our cocks in our hands, just fucking slow stroking it because we don't want to do shit.
Yeah.
It is impossible to be a Dolphins fan. All I fucking do is just suffer. All I do, we get so close every time. It's like getting blue balled by the hottest chick in the bar every night. And you keep coming back to try because you always have hope. And then what happens? She turns and talks to some other fucking good looking dude. Just fucking blue balls every goddamn night. I can't keep doing this. The Dolphins are going to fucking kill me. And on top of that, I got Garrett Cole getting an MRI on his elbow, which means the Yankee season's in fucking jeopardy now. Fucking Jimmy Butler's walking out there like a schoolgirl with pigtails, and we're losing to the Wizards. I don't even know what's going on with the Kraken. My life in sports is in fucking shambles right now. And I don't know what to do. I'm losing my fucking mind, and I'm angry. I'm unhappy. I'm just fucking frustrated. I don't
First
know
of
what
all,
to do.
fantastic rant. Fantastic. I agree. It's very, very hard to be a Miami fan right now. A lot of shit going wrong for the Dolphins. That Christian Wilkins move was devastating, I think. That having one of the biggest pieces on your defense, a captain of that defense, now going to the Raiders to pair up with Max Crosby on that defensive line. Man, that shit is going to be scary. Max Crosby is a dog on his own, but you pair him up with Christian Wilkins, dude, that defensive line is going to give some quarterbacks hell out there. That's just I'm at a loss of words, man. I'm right there with you. Like, to be a Dolphins fan and to see all of these guys just going straight out the window, like, you don't, like, what is running through ownership's mind right now? Are they trying to save as much salary cap space as possible to sign somebody big or sign a couple big players? We have no idea, because all these guys that have been really key pieces for this defense, for this team for a long time, are now gone, going to other teams, getting paid by other owners. Like, it's just it's a tough thing to see, man. So I feel for you. I feel for you.
I'm just broken, man. Like, at the end of the day, it's just like, why can't we pull our heads out of our asses just once and just say, fuck it, we're all in? Like, I don't understand. I got people on Twitter telling me, oh, As long as we have Tua, Tyreek, and Mike McDaniel, we're fine. You know who else fucking did that? The mid to late 2010s version of the Packers. You know how many Super Bowls they won? Not a fucking one of them. I like it's mind blowing to me just how stupid our front office is every single year. I don't know. And like I'm gonna talk to Frank the Tank about this later on this week, but I just bro, I'm losing my fucking mind. Like I don't know what to do. I'm in denial. I'm upset. I'm angry. Um, I mean, I'm happy for people like Wilkins who, it they get their big deal at 27.5 million a year, but like we should have franchise tagged them for the 22 million. That's a $5 million value. I like, I don't know, man. I'm distraught. So I appreciate you guys listening to that rant. But
Gary, you got anything on that?
I'm upset.
The one good thing coming out of Slow Flow right now, not necessarily related to football, is their hockey team, the Florida Panthers.
I don't give a shit. Like, let's keep it a buck, bro.
I'm just saying they are the best team in the league right now, projected to win the Stanley Cup. Do I think they will win it? No. But if they do, call me on my bluff, I guess.
Someone just queue up Marvin's room and get me a pint of ice cream. I may call it a night.
Just come hang out with me, man. I'll come pick you up in the boat.
Bro, come find me. Just tie me to the anchor. Toss me in.
See that this is actually kind of a crazy thing. Our boat doesn't really have like a good anchor. So the entire time that we've been going to these islands, we kind of have to beach this huge pontoon boat and then like tie it down with ropes. And then like whenever we decide to leave, like every dude stands in front of the boat and is just like full on like just like fucking doing like a pass rushing drill, just trying to fucking yeah.
That's awesome.
And when we first got here, the boat was broken. It took us 30 minutes. We were stranded for like 30 minutes and the boat wouldn't start.
All right, home. I'm gonna throw it over to you for college baseball. I gotta get my head out of my ass right now.
All right. We got a lot to talk about. It has been a very, very exciting college baseball week. I will start with a quick recap on our record this weekend because we've been pretty hot up until this point. This weekend, we hit a little bit of a wall. We knew it was coming. As hot as we've been in college baseball, man, like you're gonna hit that wall every once in a while. We went 2-3 on our parlays on Friday. UCF and Washington, we actually took them for plus money because they were underdogs in both of the games that they have, and both of them lost really close games. So those are tough losses to take. UNC and ECU parlay cashed us, and then UCSB and Dallas Baptist parlay cashed us as well. But Oregon lost us a 3-team lay. TCU lost us a 3-team lay that I'll touch on a little bit later. And Kentucky got their asses blown out by Kennesaw State. So that was tough to lose a couple parlays that way. Saturday, by far the worst day, 1-3. Wake Forest and Coastal Carolina came through in a parlay, but Florida took a really bad L to St. Mary's that we'll touch on. TCU took another L to Kansas, 2 in a row after their undefeated start. And then Kansas State took an L as well. We were able to bounce back on Sunday, though, 2-1. Eastern Carolina, Coastal Carolina, and Tennessee parlay gets us cashed. And then UF, FSU, NC State gets us a win as well. LSU, they were 1 run away from tying it up against Xavier and hopefully going to extras and winning that game. They were the only team to lose on that Sunday. So if not for them, would have had a perfect weekend, or perfect Sunday, and we would have kept the morale high. I do want to shout out this guy on Twitter that has been following the Unbettable college baseball picks. I got to go and find him right now because he said he was tailing us for the past couple of days and making some money. I'm going to be able to shout this guy out because he is the man. D Block, DUSHAUNE1. Shout out to you, brother. Yes, sir. We are going to keep putting out the picks for you, man. You keep tailing. We're going to keep putting out winners for you. It was a little bit tough weekend. We knew it was going to come eventually. But we're just going to get right back on the horse this week. Before we go any further, we're going to talk about Florida baseball because this was a tough week. This was a tough week, boys. I'm going to give you the rundown of the Florida baseball week, and I'm going to get your thoughts on it because we went 2-2 this week. We stumbled midweek against UCF, and we predicted it on the last pod. 9-6 loss to a very, very good UCF team. We got home runs from Jack Caglione, Brody Donay, who's starting to get his batting average raised a little bit at the plate, and Colby Shelton, who has been hotter than anybody in the Gators lineup. But Luke McNelly, man, he struggled again. We decided to start this kid again, a freshman who has been just having a really, really tough time for the Gators. Only pitched one inning, gave up 5 hits and 5 earned runs. I mean, UCF was just hammering the first pitch all game long. They never looked back. Freshman pitchers were struggling all night long. Just a really, really tough look. Florida could not get their way back into this game. And honestly, the weekend series against St. Mary's wasn't any better. We had to walk off St. Mary's Friday night, 12-11 in 10 innings. Cade Fisher, I'm going to tell you right now, we have talked about it. I do not believe that this man is a starter. In 5 innings, he gives up 7 hits and 5 earned runs. Just was not spotting up the ball very well.
Sucks.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for me, we're waiting and praying that Pierce Coppola comes back healthy. This is a 7-foot lefty that we can have on the mound that came to UF 2 years ago, but has gotten on the mound for 1 appearance because of a lot of problems with his shoulder, his back. He has just not been able to be healthy on the field, but he is such a talented pitcher. I believe that when this kid comes back, he is going to be the new Friday night starter, and we have to relegate Cade Fisher to the bullpen because his stuff, I don't believe, is that caliber of a starting pitcher, especially in the SEC. Once this SEC conference play starts going up this weekend, I just don't see it going very well for him. So we will definitely track that. Brandon Neely had a really ass night against St. Mary's as well. He was the one that blew our 9-5 lead late in the game, gave up 5 runs in 2 innings for St. Mary's to get up on the Gators. But thank God again for Colby Shelton. This transfer from Alabama has been absolutely ridiculous. He had 2 home runs in this game, including the walk-off that got the Gators the win. He's batting .356 in 15 games so far. He has 9 bombs, 21 RBIs. This kid is the heart of the Gators lineup. I'm so excited to continue to watch him play, hopefully for a couple more years for the Gators. And Saturday, awful loss. 9-7. This was not what I saw coming at all, especially against the St. Mary's team that we needed to sweep this weekend to feel confident going into conference play. Liam Peterson actually looked pretty good early on the mound, but he squandered a 4-0 lead very early in the 4th inning, I believe. Blake Purnell in the 4th and 5th, they gave up 6 runs, make it a 6-4 deficit. Cade Curlin got a 3-run home run along with the Ty Evans RBI to help that Gators lead early. But man, they just squandered it. And really, really tough. We tried to get back in the game, but who else? But Luke McNelly gets another chance. Gives up back-to-back bombs in the 7th inning. Gators end up losing 9-7 in this game. Really, really tough one to see. But Sunday, God, you got to feel fucking confident when you have Jack Caglione on the mound. 6 innings of no-hit ball, 9 Ks. He was fantastic as he's been all season long. From a guy that struggled really hard on the mound last year, he has come out and looked like the best pitcher on Florida's staff by far. Tyler Shellnut got a bomb in this game. Everybody in the lineup had a hit. 5 guys had 2 hits each, including Tanner Garrison, who ended up getting the game-winning hit in the 8th inning to make it a 10-0 win. One guy I do want to highlight, Junior Fisher Jameson, very, very bright spot out of the bullpen this week. Combined 5 1/3 inning of relief pitching, only 2 hits given up, no runs, no walks, and 7 Ks over those 5 1/3 innings. Give this guy more opportunities. He's got really great stuff. He has worked hard to get to the position he is, and I think he's going to be a very, very important piece out of the bullpen. But I'm going to say this right now. We have a very, very tough week ahead of us. 14-0 FSU. They come into town on Tuesday, and 16-0 Texas A&M starting up conference play this weekend. Woo, we are going to be in for it. Boys, any thoughts on the really tough Florida baseball week?
Fire McNally into the sun. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the main thing. Get him off the team. Not even off the team, just bench him. Like I, that's just embarrassing. I don't know if he
Mhm.
has the yips or what, but like he just can't figure it the fuck out.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
command isn't there. Just isn't.
I agree with that. Whenever he first fucked everything up, we were kind of like, oh, give him another chance. And he's had multiple chances, and it just happens every time. And I don't really know what Sully is thinking, trying to put him out. I don't know if he's just kind of like banking on him to finally just have that one appearance so he can like instill the confidence in himself that he can do it.
Mhm.
Because I mean, he can't feel too confident right now. Okay, my name is Poop now. Um, that threw me off. But yeah, it sucks. And it's disappointing, especially, this team that had so much natty hype in the beginning, and we're not playing like a natty bound team right now at all. So,
No.
I hope shit changes. But right now we kind of suck ass. So we'll see.
Yeah, pitching is struggling very, very hard. And we got to get it together, especially with conference play coming up. This is going to be a big week to see what this Gators team is really made of. But to round out really what we're talking about, let's go over a couple of storylines from this weekend. Kansas got a very big series win over number 5 TCU. They dropped down to number 12 in this week's new rankings. Listen, a lot of luck was involved in TCU's opening run to start the season, but it finally caught up with them this weekend. The Duke and Wake Forest series this weekend at Wake Forest was incredible to watch. Number 12, Duke got a series win over the top ranked Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Duke moves up to number 6 in the rankings and Wake Forest down to number 7. Charlie Bellinson, NCAA high 7 saves already for Duke. He is a monster out of the bullpen. But Chase Burns, 14 Ks, a career high on Saturday for Wake Forest. We've talked about this guy. He is an electric starter for the Demon Deacons. And a really bounce back weekend for number 24 Texas, who moved up to number 23 in the rankings over a rival Texas Tech, who moved down to 24 from 17. Texas scored 33 runs over this weekend after they dropped games last week to LSU, Vandy, Texas State, and Texas A&M. Really, really great rebound for them. And I want to give you, we've talked about this a couple times, gone over 4 teams that we don't like, 4 teams that are really hot. I'm going to give you 4 mid-major teams that are looking really, really great so far in the season that we're going to want to start backing. Number 19, Dallas Baptist University. We have been betting on them a lot. 13-2 record. They have great wins over Alabama, Okie State, Oklahoma, and Baylor. They've made a regional tourney every year since 2014. This is a very consistent team. They're batting .318 as a team with a .416 on base percentage. They have 31 home runs as a team in 15 games, and their opponent batting average is .260. They're getting it done on both sides of the ball. Number 22, UC Irvine. They're 13-1, 12 straight wins to open the season. They swept Tulane in 3 games, got a great win over UCLA in a midweek. They scored 32 runs in 1 game on Friday against Columbia. They have a 3.89 team ERA to go along with great hitting production. They got 5 guys hitting well above 300. Really, really good team to watch out for. Number 16, Coastal Carolina. This team rakes, dude. 14-2. They lost back-to-back games to very good Indiana and Duke teams in the second and third game of the season, but they have not looked back since. They've gotten dubs against Illinois, a very good mid-major squad in Campbell, and back-to-back weekend sweeps against Liberty and Michigan. They have 36 bombs and 175 RBI as a team in 16 games. They have scored 26 runs, 25 runs, 19, 17, 14, 12 runs twice, and 11 runs in games this season. They have been on fire offensively. And then Troy, an unranked team that's 12-5, they quietly won a great series this weekend against a good Indiana team and only lost by 1 run to a ranked Alabama team in the midweek. That is a team that I definitely think is on the up and up as well. 6 games to watch out for on the midweek slate this Tuesday to wrap it all up. Number 7, Wake Forest at number 16, Coastal Carolina. Obviously, we talked about it. Florida State coming into town against number 8, Florida. Indiana at number 9, Vanderbilt. 14, Alabama at Southern Miss. Troy at number 18, Auburn. And a big ranked matchup in number 12, TCU at number 9, Dallas Baptist University. So again, make sure you are following us on the Twitter because we are going to be dropping a lot of plays for the midweek Tuesday and Wednesday. Get your mind right.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, I'm gonna fly through this UFC recap real quick because we're going a little long. So let's start. We'll just go through main card. Peter Yan, Song Yadong. I know you guys were sucking off Yadong before the fights. I had Peter Yan. Obviously, the dude hit it in time. Man, the myth. Next, Gilbert Burns versus JDM. I was big on Gilbert Burns. I think all of us kind of were.
Yeah.
He unfortunately got KO'd early to mid third round. JDM look hot, bro. 17-2. He is a true up and comer beast.
Definitely.
Next, Kevin Holland, Michael Page. This is by far and away the worst UFC fight I've ever watched in my entire fucking life. I said this should have been on like the main card of a Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight because it was all theatrics and all bullshit the entire time. Absolutely terrible fight. Next up, we got the Diamond, the man, the myth. I mean, Dustin Poirier absolutely smoked BSD. I know we said he was getting old, didn't fucking matter. The Diamond is still the Diamond. He notches his 30th win. Just the dude is a beast, and he cemented himself once again as one of the GOATs.
Mm-hmm.
Next, title fight, Sugar Sean, Marlon Vera. Marlon Vera basically tucked up and away, only 89 total strikes. Sean O'Malley was just fucking smoking him. 230 significant strikes out of 232 total strikes. The guy just dominated the ring. You could watch the entire time. He was just smoking him. And I think the main thing that we kind of took away was the knee heard around the world. That sounded like a shotgun blast going off. I don't know how Marlon Vera stayed on his feet. I am giving him all the respect in the world that the dude can just straight up take shots from him for pretty much any fighter. I mean, that was unbelievable to watch. So shout out to Marlon Vera in that respect, but bro just really didn't show up to fight at the end of the day. So that's kind of like the main recap. If you guys have any thoughts real quick, go for it.
Holland, get better, bro. You're fucking sucking, and I could see you getting knocked out of the UFC in the foreseeable future. Losing to that fucking twat that you were fighting against, like he was literally a troll. He came in with all this bullshit for his walkout. And then you respond to him taunting you by like high stepping through the middle of the ring. I just feel like that's not how you're supposed to respond. I feel like you should knock the motherfucker out. And honestly, it just wasn't really, it was a horrible fight, like Mondo said. I mean, Sean O'Malley, of course, did his thing. I actually ended up falling asleep right as the fight started, and I woke up right as it ended, and I was like, fuck. But I did watch it again, and it was a good fight. It's good to see Sean like still showing that he is the best striker there is. But overall, man, Marlon Vera was not going down regardless. He has a fucking iron chin, and he was eating all those shots. And I thought that knee for sure was gonna do it. And you could tell he got a little rocked. His head went whoa, like that definitely hurt. But
it
shout out to him.
literally sounded like a shotgun.
Yeah, that would have probably fucking literally like decapitated me if I got hit by that. But fuck that.
Yeah, man, great card. Honestly, I mean, real quick, just Sean O'Malley dominated from start to finish. You could just tell he was quicker. He was ready for the moment, man. He looked great all fight long. He was. I mean, the comparison of significant strikes is jarring. I mean, he literally dominated Chito Vera from start to finish. You got to give him his props for retaining the belt and continuing to be a really, really great force in the bantamweight division. And then I will say, I know this episode did not make it up, but I did like Dustin Poirier against BSD. I thought he had it in him to be able to last and maybe get a decision, but for him to be able to knock out BSD, ooh, man, Dustin might still have some juice left in him.
Yeah,
That
he
was
does.
pretty awesome to see. And he's a very humble, likable guy. If you saw his interview with Joe Rogan after the fight, he gives all his respect in the world to BSD. He knows what a great fighter he is, but he also knows that himself is the man. So still got some juice left in the tank, and I'm excited to see what he's going to be doing next. Maybe an Islam Makhachev fight.
Could be. Could very well
crazy.
be. Now we turn our sights to UFC 300, which this card's looking pretty solid so far, but it's not a 300 card. Pereira versus Hill, Zhang Weili versus Yan. I'm not going to try that last name.
Yadong.
Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. Charles Oliveira versus Armand. Another name. But yeah, it's a pretty stacked card in terms of just like greatness. So that's gonna do it for today's episode. If you guys like it, please like, subscribe.
Wait.
We don't actually end here. We have something to talk about. So
Scotty Scheffler won the Arnold Palmer today.
Good for him. That's not what we're talking about.
Oh.
So we're all minding our business. And we've learned that Gary Gowdy is just a weird fucking guy, right?
What the fuck are we talking about?
Like just a weird fucking dude.
Oh god, dude, no.
So we'll start with what he sent us today. We're just minding our own business. Holmes and I are like trying to talk about what we're going to talk about on the show, free agency news and all that. And we get a picture from Gary. Not very helpful today, just out of nowhere. He goes, "Hey guys, here's two crabs fucking." Gary, what the hell is wrong with you?
So apparently right now is like horseshoe crab mating season, and I found out that these crabs were like actually laying eggs. Like, see all the bubbles around them? That's from them laying eggs.
Wow.
Even up here, I mean, that's a little much for bubbling.
Well, like I'm talking about under them, but those are two crabs.
What? So instead of being helpful, why were you sending us two crabs fucking?
I mean, I am on spring break. So I was just enjoying nature and walking around, and I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, and I probably wouldn't have thought much of it if I wasn't laying in bed this weekend and getting blown up with messages that I needed to talk about this on the podcast. What in the hell are you doing?
Okay, so taken completely out of context.
No,
context.
There's no way that's out of context, brother.
No, it is. It is.
Your foot.
I was not naturally sitting like that. So at first I was sitting with my leg crossed like that, and I was holding on to the outside of my foot. Like my hand was just on top of my foot, and they're like, "Gary, why are you like holding hands with your foot?" And I was like, "Well, that's what this would look like." And then I did that. And then everybody exposed the shit out of me for that image.
Yeah, my phone was getting blown up that I had to talk about this on the podcast. Cause what the fuck, man? Why can't anyone send me a pic of you and you're just normal?
Wait
Why
till
do I
you
have to get
see
shit like this?
the Unbettable video this week. I'm thinking I might release. There's a video of me from this vacation where shout out to Austin Hart real quick for the story I'm about to talk about. I bought a bottle of Hennessy with me for the trip, and that I'm not kidding you. I drank that bottle last night, or about 3/4 of it, and I have never had such a bad hangover in my entire life until this morning. I threw up last night for about an hour. I woke up in the middle of the night, and the bedroom I'm sleeping in, there's a trundle. If you don't know what a trundle is, like a bed that slides under the other bed, whatever. So my buddy Dane is sleeping there, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm about to throw up. And I like launch myself forward, forget he's there. So I have to take an even bigger step, and I fell and smacked my face on the fucking dresser. and then I went and threw up. So yeah, it was pretty awesome. Nice little wake up
What
call.
Hennessy
what
is
is
no
the
joke. That
matter
is
with you?
God's elixir there, my friend.
Yeah, it's an interesting sensation you get from consuming copious amounts of Hennessy.
Damn
I,
right.
the stories of home and I with the Hennessy and just the tailgates and the Big Brother nights and all that. Yeah, we know, Gary. We
Yeah, there's
know.
nothing better. Nothing better than that stuff, man. God, I love that.
Also, Gary, you got a movie review for us.
Oh, wow. I
That would be
forgot.
a no.
Let me pull up my Letterbox. Shout out Letterbox. If you don't have Letterbox, you should buy it or not buy it, download it. Pretty cool app where you can make friends and review movies. So the first movie I watched was Rocky 2. Now, Rocky 2 was not my favorite out of the two that I've seen so far.
Really?
Um I like the story better in the first one about how he kind of came up from nothing. In Rocky 2, you can tell that Rocky kind of let the money go to his head a little bit. Buying Rolexes for his homies and his wife, because they end up getting married. Buying a car that he couldn't drive, which was pretty funny. Bought a house. And then he gets his wife pregnant. Um, Adrian is her name, and she ends up having like a hemorrhage throughout her pregnancy, goes into a coma. Rocky's like, okay, like, I gotta, because he started training because Apollo wanted to rematch him. And his wife didn't like that, so she just tweaked. Went into a coma, woke up a few days later, is like, Rocky, go beat that dude's ass. And Rocky did. Rocky won that fight, clearing his name. So yeah, overall, Rocky is still slow. Adrian is still low key hot. Excuse me. And Adrian's brother is a piece of shit.
Yes.
Next movie I watched was Semi-Pro. Semi-Pro. My review of this movie, I gave it 3.5 stars, and my comment was "Let's get tropical," because I feel like that's what really stuck out to me in this movie. But it was an interesting cast. Andre 3000,
Yep. Coffee
being the
black.
star. Yeah, Coffee Black. This this movie, it was funny, but it was also like low key, almost like educational in a way. Just showing like how like different leagues sort of like run and like like then they're like merging and they're like, all right, you're gonna get your shit cut. And then like there's people who are like actually talented and then like people that are like dog shit. And it's like, I don't know. I just kind of thought about that while I was watching it.
There's
Um,
one scene in the movie where they
yeah.
talk about the merger.
And then the dude comes from the Celtics. Well, I guess I'm not really reviewing it. Yeah, it's like about this team that really sucks. And they're in Flint, Michigan, and they're like, who the fuck's gonna want to go to a team in Flint, Michigan? Um, and then they're like, all right, like we're gonna cut you a deal if you get this amount of wins, you can compete for the NBA merger. And then they switched it up and said, okay, if you get 2,000 fans at every game and the wins, then you can be like merged in. Um, they're like, how are we gonna do that? They get this washed up prick from the Celtics, who was actually pretty good and kind of coached the team. And then Coffee Black dips and goes to the Spurs. And then for the final game, the Spurs were the best team. And Coffee Black is like, fuck this team. I'm playing for my homeboys, the Tropics. Puts on the Tropics jersey. They beat the or I can't remember if they won or lost that game. I think they did win. And then Coffee Black gets re-signed by the Spurs and goes to the NBA. So really weird movie, but it was okay.
I mean, you skipped over so many good scenes, but that's okay.
That
Gotta
movie was
respect
just
that.
That movie is brain rot. That movie is just straight up brain rot. Like,
It's just a classic Will Ferrell like fuck around piece. That's all it is. Just happens to be sports themed.
yeah. So I
But yeah,
appreciate it for that, but it was
I
good.
pull so many quotes from that. I love that movie. It is so funny and so ridiculous. As Anthony Walker Jr. signs with the Browns. So, but yeah, what's on the agenda for movies this week? You putting Blades of
Rocky,
Glory
Rocky 3.
and Blades of Glory 2?
I haven't seen Wait, like the second Blades of Glory?
EOO.
Oh, yeah, sure. That's also a Will Ferrell movie, right?
Yes, it is.
All right.
You'll recognize a certain section of it because it's in a song.
All right.
So you'll know when
Wait,
you
is
watch
it from People in Paris?
it. It is.
Okay.
All
People
right.
in Paris.
If you guys enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to like, subscribe, share with everyone you know. It really does help us grow. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.